Sir, Jai Shri Gurudev, sir.
Jai Shri Gurudev.
Sir, shall we start the session, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Shweta madam, you can start the session now. Hello, Shweta madam.
Shweta madam.
Sure, otherwise inform to the student, MTech student.
Lubna?
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, madam. Please start.
You can start.
Okay, sir. Jai Shri Gurudev. Namaste. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. This is Lubna Sahara, a student coordinator from Department of CSC at SJC Institute of Technology. Dear participants, I hope you all had a refreshing break and are ready to continue our exciting journey in this faculty development program. It is with great enthusiasm that I welcome you to day 5 of online 6 days ATAL faculty development program on AI and security, current trends and future research, organized by SJC Institute of Technology. It is my privilege to warmly welcome our esteemed Principal Sir Dr. G.T. Raju as the resource person for this session. We are grateful for their valuable time and expertise, and we look forward to an enlightening session. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Let us begin with day 5, session 9 on Mathematics for AI and Generative Models by our esteemed Principal Sir, Dr. G.T. Raju. I request Shweta ma'am to introduce our resource person. Over to you, ma'am.
Shweta madam.
Shriyari, I think you are not. See, Shriyari, listen here. Shweta madam is muted. Please unmute Shweta madam.
Sir, I have done already, sir. Sir, for 1 minute, sir.
Sorry. Good evening, sir. Is it audible?
Yes, madam.
Sorry, sir, for the disturbance.
It's okay. Please go ahead.
It is my privilege and honor to introduce honor to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. G.T. Raju. Sir is highly respected academic and research professional with over 32 years of experience in teaching and research in the field of computer science and engineering. Sir has held various prestigious positions in academia, including principal, professor, and director, and has contributed significantly to the advancement of education and research in the field. Currently serves as principal and professor at SJC Institute of Technology in Chikballapur, and is also the creator and founder director of BJS College of Engineering and Technology in Bengaluru. Sir has a rich background in research with more than 16 years of experience in the domain, and primary research interests include knowledge discovery in databases, clustering techniques, web mining, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and next-gen agriculture and communication technologies. Over the years, Sir has guided 20 doctoral candidates and evaluated numerous PhD theses. Sir works as a lead to the successful completion of multiple research projects funded with grants exceeding 45 lakhs. With over 135 publications, including technical books, Sir has made significant contributions to the academic community. Sir has been actively involved in organizing and participating in seminars and workshops, often in leadership roles, and has served as a keynote speaker at several prestigious academic conferences. Sir research contributions in areas such as data mining, ANML, network optimization, and image processing have earned wide recognitions in the academic and research circles. Under Sir's leadership, SJCIT has achieved significant milestones, including NAC accreditation with an A+ grade, NBA accreditation for 6 departments, and a position in the NIRF ranking in the brand of 151 to 300. Additionally, from 2024 to 2025, SJCT has been granted autonomous status under VTU. Sir is also known for his commitment to the professional development of both students and faculty members, emphasizing educational excellence and continuous growth. Sir's leadership in academia is underscored by his unwavering focus on fostering innovation and research at the institutions. Sir continues to inspire and mentor the next generation of engineers, researchers, and educators. We are honored to have you, sir, with us. Now, I request you to take over the session, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Jai Shri Gurudev. With the divine blessings of Paramapujya Jagadguru, Padma Bhushana, Shri Dr. Bhalangadanath Mahaswamiji, submitting my humble and devout pranams at the lotus feet of His Holiness Jagadguru Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji, seeking the blessings from Pujya Shri Mangalanath Swamiji, respected Dean, Academics, SJC Institute of Technology, heads of the departments, my fellow faculty members, and my dear participants from various engineering colleges and also organizations. Good evening to one and all who are attending this particular session, and a hearty welcome to this session. My topic is mathematics for AI and generative models. So as you all aware, mathematics is such an important concept which is being used in most of the subjects, especially in solving real world problems. Mathematics is the backbone. In fact, there is a saying, mathematics is the language for engineers, especially for engineering professionals. Mathematics has become a language, so through which we represent many of the concepts. You take any subjects of your interest, you find applications of mathematics. So be it electronics and communication, be it electrical, be it civil, mechanical, be it computer science, and other computer science allied disciplines like artificial intelligence, machine learning, generative AI, and whatnot. So computer vision, everywhere. Without mathematics, probably there is nothing. In fact, the whole world, I think the universe, okay, mathematics has become almost language of universe also, I can say. So I am very happy and excited to share some of the applications of this mathematics, particularly in the field of artificial intelligence as well as generative models. Let us look at the glimpse of what all being covered in this particular session. So we'll be having a brief introduction to this area, and then the most important concepts of mathematics being applied in AI and machine learning, as well as generative AI and generative models, the linear algebra, okay, which is I think very essential component in almost all engineering disciplines, particularly electronics and communication engineering, even mechanical engineering, and everywhere you find the applications of linear algebra. and probability and statistics, which is again another mathematical concept through which you can model all uncertain and even predictions, predictions and whatnot, approximations, everything you can do with the probability and statistics. And then optimization techniques, again essential for optimizing the solution approaches. Then calculus, both differential calculus, integral calculus being used in machine learning, especially for training and computing the loss functions and all will be extensively using this calculus. Then information theory. Okay, so probably you might have heard the words like entropy. Okay, while finding especially in the decision tree construction, okay, to decide which one to be the root node, will be using the concept of entropy, that is coming under information theory only. Gain and loss functions will be under information theory. And then as you all aware, graph theory and networks play a very important significant role in establishing relationship among the data items. Okay, and then since we are dealing with AI, game theory is also another important concept, like adversarial games, and then zero sum games. Then again, there also optimization function, maximize, minimization functions are defined through again mathematical concepts only. Then we'll be having overview of what all we know about generative AI models all about, and then what are the future directions in both AI as well as generative models, particularly applications of mathematics in these two disciplines, AI as well as generative models. Finally, we'll have a summary of all these mathematical concepts with the key concepts, followed by some of the applications. Okay, a simple summary chart is also being made and presented to you. Then some of the references I followed while preparing these slides. Okay, this is all about today's agenda. So without wasting further any time, let us move on to understand introduction to mathematics in AI. As you know, mathematics is the foundation of algorithms and power AI. In fact, algorithms, it's a basic problem solving approach through, again, they will be following step by step procedure. Every step to solve any simple problem to complex problem will be using extensively mathematics only. That's the reason people say it is a foundation. It is a foundation of algorithms. Is the slide visible, moving?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So mathematics is the foundation in solving any problem properly. While teaching any of the subjects we could witness, be it a DBMS, there also we find extensive use of matrices. Okay, be it networking, we find extensive use of graph theory. Be it AI, we find it applications of sets theory, discrete mathematical structure especially. So like that, so mathematics has become almost a foundation for any algorithms, and even these concepts of power artificial intelligence also. Understanding these mathematical principles is crucial for developing effective models. By model, I mean what concepts we use to describe something, especially the models defined in AI and ML. So generative models like GPTs, and then GANs and VAEs, generative adversarial networks, and then variational autoencoders, and then diffusion models. Particularly, these are the models which are being used extensively in generative models, particularly in GPT concepts, and then key mathematical disciplines such as linear algebra, majorly used, calculus, both differential as well as integral calculus, then probability theory and as well as statistics concepts, and then optimization techniques. These play integral roles in the design and implementation of any algorithm under the disciplines of this AI as well as machine learning, and also these generative models. This particular session presents and explores the key mathematical concepts which are being used in AI and generative models. There is a saying by Galileo who says, mathematics is the language with which God has written the universe. Look at the statement. Galileo has made the statement. Mathematics is the language with which God has written the universe. Even the entire universe is written using mathematics only. Probably those who have visited Rajasthan, what is a pink city, you could find the applications of maths. Even in Gavi Gangadhareshwara temple, and the Sankranti day, you will find exactly the sun will be almost touching the Ishvara Linga. That is also through mathematical calculations only. So people say Kagoda, Shastragna, something like the calculations. Okay. So earlier also in old age also people extensively use mathematics for calculating or writing the universe itself. Okay. Yeah, let us look at some of the applications of the linear algebra, okay, in AI as well as machine learning. So understanding linear algebra is essential, okay, as well as even the data, okay, to understand what all the data structures which are used in AI. So the moment I say data structures, I think for every problem you have data items. How do we organize these data items so that these data items can be accessed easily, processed easily, stored easily? Okay, so that again, whenever you want to access these items at faster rate next time, definitely we need to have algorithms. And representation definitely requires linear algebra, and in computation, transforming these data items, storing, okay, normalizing, all these requires linear algebra concepts, particularly the vectors and matrices, which are being used to represent and manipulate the data in high dimensions. You know, AI and machine learning algorithms will be using, okay, almost high dimensional data only. So we need to have again a principal component analysis here, okay, to reduce the dimensional reduction techniques. And usually problems coming under these disciplines will be with multi dimensions only. Okay, so we call something like as okay. In the order, okay, in the order of okay more than 100 dimensions, you can say. So operations such as matrix multiplication, probably you might have experienced, which are foundational for neural networks. Probably those who work with neural networks, who taught neural networks, to understand the concepts of inner product, outer product, in fact, the weight matrix, okay. And then weight matrix basically represent the knowledge, how the knowledge get transformed, okay, basically. The knowledge is represented in terms of weight matrix only in case of neural network. There'll be input matrix, there'll be weight matrix, there'll be output matrix. Okay, input vector will be multiplied with the weight matrix. You get some output. Okay, and then you compare whether you reached the target or not. Then you'll be again reducing. Okay, we'll have gradient descent training algorithms so that we can reduce or okay, optimize the weight matrix to reach the targets. That is possible. Okay, so I think through this process you could witness a series of operations from in transforming input to output. So many is particularly if you are using multi-layered neural network with many hidden layers. Okay, so many multiplication operations are involved in transforming data from input layer to output layer. And let us look at the applications of probability and statistics. Probably, I think in most of the AI concepts, we come across knowledge only. Okay, most of the AI problems exploit knowledge. When I say knowledge, okay, knowledge is something like any fact, any certain fact. Okay, any concept, any procedure, any rule we follow, okay, any algorithm we follow. These are all constitutes knowledge. How do you represent this knowledge? Okay, so there are many ways. We have certain knowledge and certain knowledge. Certain knowledge can be represented using any of these formal methods, whereas uncertain knowledge, definitely we use probability, okay, to model. Especially to deal with uncertainty, we'll be exploiting this probability models in building AI systems. Okay, the statistical methods are particularly used to infer the patterns and make predictions from data. Even the Markov chain concept, probably you might have heard. Okay, distributions, okay, normal distribution, Weber distribution, standard distribution, periodic distribution. So depending on the problem situations, data models, people okay exploit fit into the models. Right, understanding these distributions such as Gaussian, which is very crucial. Gaussian is almost like normal distribution, bell-shaped curve. Okay, they say, for example, to predict the performance of a class normally, which is represented like Gaussian only. So, especially for generative models, understanding this Gaussian model is very, very important. And if you come across, okay, if you look at the optimization techniques, okay, the moment I say optimization, which is basically a process of finding the best parameters for a model, okay, best parameters, and you need to fine tune parameters so that these can fit into that particular model. So particularly the gradient descent procedure, which is being widely used method for minimizing the loss functions. See, the objective of or aim of any optimization technique is to minimize the loss. So for that, we will be using a sophisticated gradient descent function, particularly the stochastic gradient descent functions. So understanding this convexity as well as local minimum problems is vital for effective optimizations. While arriving optimal solutions, we might come across this local minima problem or local maxima problem. So definitely these are all because of these convexity situations in the given problem. So to overcome this, definitely we use these optimization techniques. So when we talk about calculus in machine learning, both the differential as well as integral calculus, which is used to understand changes in loss functions during the training process, especially in case of machine learning, we train, right? Which the moment we say machine learning, we train the model so that to get the best model which can fit in to solve the given problem. So there we have the concept called derivatives and gradients, which help in tuning the particular model parameters so effectively. The chain rule, which is particularly important in backpropagation of neural networks, probably all of you might have heard of this backpropagation, which is the standard good old learning algorithm in case of neural networks. Okay, so probably the most of the machine learnings are employing these neural networks only, deep learning, the recurrent neural networks, time delay neural networks, or adaptive resonance theory neural networks. So there are many neural network models which makes use of this backpropagation learning algorithm, which is one of the effective and efficient training algorithm. And coming to the information theory, okay, which quantifies the amount of information, okay, represented in data. The moment I say information, which is derived, okay, from which is derived from data only. Okay, so information is something like derived data, we can say, right? So from the given data, when you process, so you will get information. That's why we say information is always processed data. By data, I mean set of values only. Values of any kind, could be numerical, non-numerical. Numerical could be again fixed point or floating point, and even Boolean also sometimes. Okay. So, but when you process data, we'll get the information. Refined information will be sometimes called as knowledge. So in AI and machine learning, we use these terms called data, information, knowledge, wisdom, kind of thing. So concepts like entropy, particularly, okay, we'll be using to decide whether the patterns belongs to one class or other class, or the distribution is uniform or non-uniform. To decide all of these, which okay, to decide the weightages and all, we'll be using the concept called entropy and also the cross entropy, which are used to evaluate model performance. So these information theory concepts play a significant role in evaluating loss functions, especially in case of generative models. So when we talk about graph theory and networks, as you all aware, the moment I say graph, okay, it's an interconnected network where nodes represent data and the connections represent the association among these data elements. Of any complexity, relationships can be associated among the data elements, which provide a framework for understanding relations, particular relationships in data. So in case of AI, especially to represent knowledge using associative network, what we call, okay, we have nodes, we have associations, and through which we can have this inheritance concept also. So we can represent and even derive the new knowledge. Okay, that is possible. Even we use this frames concept, which again makes use of graph theory only. And then even in okay, playing games also will be using the graph theory concept, representing the solutions for many of the complex problems. Will be using tree concept. Tree and graphs are almost same. So a tree doesn't have any cycles. Graph can have cycles. Okay, so both are nonlinear data structures only. So neural networks definitely can be viewed as graphs of interconnected nodes only. Here is the diagram, which says from input layer could be something like this, and there could be many hidden layers. And then there will be output layer. All these layers are okay, almost represented like graphs only of any complexity. So when we say graph, we have this concept of adjacency matrix. Okay, we represent graphs using associative matrix or adjacency matrix, which are useful in representing these structures. That in fact, many people are using even linked list also to show the adjacent nodes and adjacent data points. Will be using okay, it could be anything, either linked list or even matrices. Okay, incident matrix, something like that. Okay, from adjacent matrix you can find path matrix also. So that is possible. Probably you might have heard of this partial algorithm to find a path matrix, and then can have this like algorithms to find shortest path or to shortest solution. So because most of the AI problems are represented like a graph only solutions. So to find the solution path in a graph, we'll be following these searching algorithms. So searching algorithms definitely follow these graph concepts only, starting from root node to the goal node. Definitely we follow some paths. Okay, so graphs are definitely extensively used in presenting solutions of most of the AI and machine learning problems. So let us look at some of the applications of mathematical concepts called game theory, which is something like maximizing max-min problem. This is coming under max-min problem, okay, which models strategic interactions among rational agents. Okay, the rational agent, what is agent? Okay, the agent, I mean, the one which work on behalf of somebody. Okay, here it is a program which works on behalf of something like computer program which is playing a game. That is called as an agent, which can think rational. Okay, so that means right thinking, making right decision always. That's what we mean by rational. So this game theory concepts helps in designing algorithms, especially for cooperative and competitive scenarios. Probably you might have heard there are basically two kinds of games: competitive games as well as cooperative games, and then zero-sum games. Okay, and then max-min concept is being used in finding or solving these game theory problems. Understanding the concept called Nash equilibrium can be useful in multi-agent systems. When I say multi-agent, definitely it could be either collaborative and cooperative agent systems. And if you look at the future directions of mathematics in especially the field of artificial intelligence, so the role of advanced mathematics in AI continues to grow, no doubt in it. Research in areas like topological data analysis, which is becoming increasingly important. And mathematical literacy is the key for future AI practitioners as well as the researchers. So I think anybody who has to take up a research in any of the chosen domain, he should be strong in mathematics. Okay, so in fact, in IIT and IISc, people select purely based on the mathematical background only. Every concept, for example, even the moment I say neural network, what is the mathematics behind neuron? How do you represent a simple neuron? They say. And even if it's a classification techniques, how do we classify? If it is a clustering technique, how do you cluster? What is the mathematics behind? Or how do you find similarity? To find similarity, again, Euclidean's formula is being used extensively, similarity measured. So wherever you go in whichever the discipline, in any of the algorithms, definitely you will have applications of this mathematics. That's why every researcher should have extensive mathematical literacy. So let us look at some of the concepts about generative models. Let us start with understanding what all we mean by generative models. So these models are a class of statistical models which can generate new data points. Okay, so as the name indicates, you have some data points. Can we generate new data points? Like you have extensive knowledge, can we generate new knowledge? So you have some source of data, can we generate new data that probably people might have experience with ChatGPT? So which can generate any letter or any document or any report or any research proposal. So notes, question papers, whatnot. Okay, from the existing patterns, it will generate a new pattern. That's what generative models is all about. These models, particularly how it generates new patterns, so it has to learn the underlying distribution. It has to understand the distribution pattern. So that is the normal. The moment we say distribution, the probability concept comes into picture. One should have thorough knowledge, and because it has to select. Now, selection is very important. Maximum likelihood function, that is very important in understanding these distributions of a data set to create a similar data. Similarly, applications, if you look at the applications of the generative models, so which are extensively used in image synthesis, text generation, drug discovery, and so on and so forth. So these generative models aims to learn the underlying distribution of data, particularly the techniques like generative adversarial networks and then variational autoencoders are popular for generating new data samples. So mathematics play a crucial role in the formulation of these models. See, we define problems, okay, in two ways. So one is through formula-based definition, otherwise text-based definition, okay. So problem formulation or problem statement. So the moment we say problem statement, we use the normal English sentence to define the problem, starting with what is given, okay, what has to be computed, and what is the expected outcome and all. Whereas the moment we say problem formulation, we define the parameters. We use parameters, what X represent, what Y represents. Then we define the problem statement in terms of something like maximize X square plus 2XY less than or equal to 5, something like that, okay. So we define the problem in terms of parameters and their variations and their distribution types, what to be maximized, what to be minimized, kind of thing. So the key concepts which are being used in generative model is again a probability, okay, which provides foundation for understanding these generative models. Because generating new patterns is not so easy, okay, it has to understand the pattern variations, distributions, and all. That's the reason, okay, probability theory is very much important. Concepts like particularly those who come across probability might have experienced the concepts like random variables, okay, and then distributions and expectations, okay, expectation maximization techniques, which are very crucial, okay. Random variables, again, discrete random variable, okay, then continuous random variable, then these are the concepts, okay. So various distributions. I think on the other slide I was telling Gaussian distribution, okay, Pareto distribution, Weibull distribution, gamma distribution, beta distribution, kind of thing. A solid grasp of particularly the Bayes theorem. The moment we talk about probability theory, the Bayes theorem play a crucial role, which is essential for more, okay, many generative modeling techniques. Basically, it classifies, it predicts Bayes theorem, right? So probably those who worked with probability definitely understand the applications of Bayes theorem. Normally, in case of dealing with the uncertainty concept, we extensively use this Bayes theorem. So let us look at statistical distribution applications in generative models. So there are various statistical distributions which are being used in generative models, including Gaussian and Barlow. This picture, I think, signifies the different types of distributions which are extensively used in case of generative models. However, each distribution has specific parameters that define its shape and characteristics. Okay, particularly the fit okay, model fit problem only. We have to fit the model by fine-tuning these parameters. Understanding these distributions definitely helps in selecting a particular model, right model for a given data. Okay, so you need to define the parameter and its variations and its behavior. Okay, then you have to make analogy like with respect to what distribution, okay, what distribution followed by particular parameter, so that you can select a particular model for the kind of distribution. I was talking about likelihood functions, which are especially very important in case of classifying problems. So people are talking about data mining techniques, okay, classification technique, clustering techniques. During classification, definitely these likelihood functions are employed, right? Likelihood function, which can measure how well a model explains the observed data. So maximizing the likelihood is basically a common approach to estimate the model parameters. So this process basically, okay, which is fundamental basic in both supervised as well as unsupervised learning. So when I say supervised classification technique, unsupervised is a clustering technique. So you need not have any confusion between these two classes. Okay, if you know the class labels, if we can predict the class for which the new pattern belongs to, that is supervised learning. If we don't know the class labels, using similarity measures, we group them. We group the patterns. Okay, so that we'll be calling as unsupervised learning. So let us look at these generative adversarial networks. which consists of basically two kinds of neural networks. One is called generator, other is discriminator. So which compete against each other. So competitive neural networks, what we call those concepts are being used particularly in GANs. The generator basically creates data while the discriminator evaluates its authenticity. As the name indicates, discriminator evaluates authenticity and discriminates data. This adversarial process leads to improved data generation over time. Adversarial meaning, okay, so particularly in game theory concepts, we'll be using these concepts. Then VAEs, okay, autoencoders, variational inference. Variational inference is basically a technique used to approximate the complex posterior distributions, which transforms the inference problem into an optimization problem for tractable computations. This method is pivotal in training models such as variational auto encoders, which are very important in generative models. So we have this concept called Markov chain Monte Carlo method, which are used for sampling from probability distributions when direct sampling is difficult. Okay, so they enable the estimation of posterior distributions in generative models. These techniques, which are crucial for models that don't lend themselves to closed form solutions. So you have this concept called loss function, especially in case of generative models. So which quantify how well a generative model performs during training. Okay, what is the difference between like target and the estimated? So that is basically the difference between these estimated and target is the loss. So the objective is to minimize this loss only. We model in terms of functions only. Those are called as loss functions. So common loss functions include like binary cross entropy for GANs. Similarly, reconstruction loss for VAEs, variational autoencoders. So selecting the right loss function, which is critical for successful model convergence as with the high performance. And yes, evaluation metrics are very important, even performance evaluation metrics, something like that. Okay. So when we have different generative models, how do we evaluate? How do we evaluate? And what are the metrics used to evaluate so that they can capture quality and diversity of generated data? So common metrics are used in case of generation models. Generative models are inception score and project inception distance, FID and IS. These are the two common metrics. Those who are pursuing research in generative models are supposed to make use of these evaluation metrics to evaluate the performance of those generative models in the chosen domain of chosen problem. So understanding these metrics definitely helps in assessing the effectiveness or efficacy of the generative process. So if you look at the future directions of mathematics in generative modeling, okay, so this particular field, generative modeling, is rapidly evolving with the new techniques and new applications. So advances in computational power and algorithms continue to enhance model capabilities. Ethical considerations and biases in generated content are becoming increasingly important. So let us look at a summary table, okay, summary of mathematical topics and their key concepts along with the applications. If you look at the linear algebra, what are the key concepts employed? So we use the concepts like vectors, matrices, tensors, matrix operations like multiplication, inversion, okay, decomposition, inner product, dot product, okay, cross product, outer product, eigenvalues and eigenvectors, which are very important again. Principal component analysis for dimensional reduction, okay. So we use these eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So if you look at the applications of these linear algebra, so we use linear algebra for representing data sets and also to represent the models, particularly okay, operations in neural networks. For example, weight matrix representation and forward and backward propagation. Okay, so probably you might have heard these in case of neural networks. Forward, okay, backward propagation methods. You can forward the data, okay, in multi-layered neural network, and you can again backward propagation. That is possible from the output layer to, okay, the hidden layers definitely will be feeding back. So these are some of the applications of linear algebra. So coming to the calculus, okay, we use extensively the concepts like derivatives and gradients, similarly partial derivatives and Jacobians, gradient descent, as well as backpropagation. These are some of the key concepts which are employed in calculus. So finds applications in optimization of loss functions, training generative models through stochastic gradient descent. Okay, so these are some of the applications. I'm listing here only few applications, and these are not only the applications, so not limited to. You will find extensive applications of calculus in AI as well as generative models. So if you look at the probability and statistics, probability distributions, example Gaussian or Bernoulli. Similarly, Bayes inference, expectation, variance, covariance, sampling techniques, Monte Carlo methods. These are some of the key concepts which are used under probability and statistics concept. Modeling applications. If you if you look at the applications of these probability and statistics, we apply them in modeling uncertainties in generative models. Similarly, we use them in training methods like variational autoencoders. While training these particular models, will be using probability and statistics concepts only. So coming to the information theory, we use the key concepts like entropy and mutual information, and also Keil divergence and cross entropy loss. So whereas if you look at the applications, especially we'll be using in case of loss functions and classification and generative models. Okay, and then also in diffusion model, that is another generative model. So improving model efficiency as well as compression techniques will be using information theory concepts. So finally, the optimization, wherein we come across convex and non-convex optimizations, gradient-based methods, and then regularization methods. These are some of the key concepts which are applied in training neural networks and fine-tuning the generative models. So lastly, discrete mathematics, whereas we talk about graph theory and then combinatorics. These are two different areas. So they find applications in graph neural networks as well as generative models for graph structured data. Okay, so this is a summary of some of the mathematical topics and their key concepts, and also the applications in both AI as well as generative models. These are some of the references which are used for preparing these slides. So I'll be sharing these slides with you. You can definitely refer if you are looking at what mathematical concepts shall be used for your research problem, or any of the concepts coming under the domain CI and machine learning. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'm done with the presentation.
Participants, if anybody is having any questions, kindly post in the chat box.
Yeah, should I end my share screen sharing?
Yes, sir.
So that we can take up some questions. Yeah.
So thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. What is the next session?
Sir, Deepak sir is having a next session, sir.
Yeah.
Is there any questions, Srihari, in the chat box?
No, sir. Till now, okay, we are not received any queries, sir.
Somebody said Jai Shri Gurudev. Yeah.
Participants, if anybody is having any questions, kindly post in the chat box.
Yeah, thank you, Manjula madam. So here I have given only abstract view of mathematical concepts. However, depending on your problem, complexities, you can take a deep dive into that. So start reading probability and statistics, especially for engineers. They should have strong mathematical background in improving your research orientation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashok Gowda. Thank you, Swami. Yeah. Deepa madam, thank you so much. Noted. Okay. Bhagya from East West. Thank you, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Manjunath.
Yes, sir. Jai Shri Gurudev, sir. Jai Shri
Jai Shri
Gurudev.
Gurudev.
So
Sir,
on
yes, madam.
on
I will take one minute, madam. 1 minute.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Sir, it was really, it is a very informative session, sir. As we know, mathematics is required for any research work. Mathematics is must and should. Any research scholar should have that mathematical model or mathematics knowledge is required to complete the research work, and especially for the research area like AI or ML. It purely depends on the mathematics. And today in this session, you have given a very informative. Like your slides presentation is very informative, and we have, almost all the participants have received very information about the mathematics, how mathematics is required for AI and generative AI.
Shruti Krishna is asking for sharing the PPTs. Yeah, you can share. I think.
Yeah,
Shweta madam, you have the PPT copy now. You can share.
Sir, we'll
yes,
share,
sir.
sir. We'll
Yes,
share, sir.
Vidya
we'll share
Veeresh,
the
thank
PPT,
you.
sir.
So on behalf
Yes,
of
there
all
are-
the
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Sir, I think,
Yes, there are
madam,
so many
sir
things
is
like error function modeling, error modeling class and all.
yeah.
So which needs like no thorough understanding of particularly the probability concepts. Being computer science professionals, you should be strong in sets, relations, functions, even combinatories, so that you can easily understand any of these, particularly the linear algebra matrix. So as you all aware, any real world problem can be modeled as a matrix only. You know, the inverse adjacency matrix, all those things. Probably matrix method, Cramer's rule, you might have explored, right? So we model real world problem, particularly those who have studied operations research will understand. So in problem formulation, we'll be using this maximization, minimization function subjected to a set of simultaneous equations, linear equations. We'll be solving these same linear equations through mathematical models only, like unknown matrix, and then given data matrix as well as variable matrix. So we model any real world problems in terms of matrix only. So we should have strong knowledge in matrices, probability, and statistics. Thank you. Thank you so much.
On behalf of all the participants
Madam,
and
we'll wait, madam. I think sir is reading still chat box. I think.
okay,
No,
sir.
it's okay. I think Arpana. Yes, thank you. They're telling thank you, not asking questions. I don't know why. At
Yes,
my
sir.
age, I tried my level best. Thanks to organizers for making me to revisit
sir.
and refresh
No, sir. Actually,
the knowledge in
yeah.
this mathematics. So during my 32 years of experience, I taught many a times AI, machine learning, discrete mathematical structures, especially neural networks also I taught. And in fact, my research is in adaptive resonance theory neural networks only. But thanks for making me to going through again these concepts and
Yes, recalling all these
refresh
concepts.
all of you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Much, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Sir, on behalf of Team
All the-
CSE, sir, I would like to express a gratitude for accepting our request, and also today as a resource person for today's session, and main motivational force behind conducting subtle FTP. Thank you very much, sir.
Once
Madam
again,
Shweta, madam, please.
congratulations to all of you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
could see the
Thank you, sir.
participation. Okay, strength 253 plus members are attending. I think that speaks the quality of a presentation by various speakers. I'd like to express deep sense of gratitude for all the speakers of this particular FDP. At this point of time, definitely people are active. I'm happy and congratulate each and everyone. Appreciate your time and efforts in understanding these concepts particularly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Please
Yes,
make
sir.
use of these sessions to the maximum.
So on behalf of all the participants and the organizing team, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for your valuable contribution today. Your insightful session has been incredibly enriching, and we are truly fortunate to have you and have the opportunity to learn from your expertise. The knowledge you have shared along with our practical insights will undoubtedly help us in our academic professional journey. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Sheshaya. Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you, Vidya Dandagi, Ashwinian. Yeah, very happy and big opportunity for me to meet all of you. So, yes, I'm revisiting this. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you all once again. Yeah. Next session.
Next
Sir,
session
whether
is
this
from Deepak. Yes, madam. Please continue.
whether the resource person has joined, sir.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
PPTs in group, Shweta. Meanwhile, many are asking for PPTs. Please share.
Okay, sir.
Sir, we'll share.
Sharana Basappa Tadkal. So nice. Thank you so much. Yeah. Sharmila Madam.
So, I think, sir, 2 or 3 research persons are your students only, sir, for this FDP. Very first day,
Super.
Kiran Kumar has given the talk. He
Yeah.
was the your MTech student, sir, in BMS College of Engineering.
Oh, super.
Yeah. After the talk,
I could see Dr.
was there.
Monica, Dr. Deepa.
Yes, sir. Monica. Monica madam is having a tomorrow session, sir. Tomorrow.
Okay, nice. All the best, very best, madam.
I think madam is in the. I think she has joined this meeting, sir. This talk.
Raised her hand, I don't know. Dr. Monica, are you there? Probably unmute ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
So, no, actually, in the beginning of the session, madam was facing problem in viewing the presentation, sir. She called and I think for that reason she has raised the hand.
Oh, old one. Okay. Share ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Shweta,
Sir.
please share the PPT in the group.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Sir, we'll share in the group,
We
sir.
have WhatsApp groups of all the participants,
Yeah,
sir.
please share.
In the group only we will share the PPT. Yeah.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. Monica here.
Oh, Monica, how are you?
Sir.
Tell me.
I'm fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Where were you, madam?
Sir, I was not unmuted. I had question also.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, what is
Please
the
ask.
best regularization? So, what is the best regularization method for generative AI models?
That you only should answer. You worked a lot.
Sir, mathematical tools which you had
Please
summarized.
describe. Yeah.
So I just got
Generative AI model, right? Yeah.
howದು.
The models. Which one is being used extensively now?
Sir, L1, L2 basically they
Yeah.
apply, but again it depends on the application.
Yeah.
So ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಸೋದು regularization ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಸೊ what is your interception about it?
So I have not worked much with generative AI. I was just going through the sources. Okay, as you said, L1, L2 only.
Again, because since it is completely on, whether it is image being processed or it is on the text, it depends on what
Yeah, depending. Always
Yes,
depends
sir.
on type of data you deal.
Yes,
We
sir.
cannot
So,
say, like, especially in case of machine learning, we can't say some method is effective, some method is okay, not effective like that. It all depends on your problem complexities only.
probably large language models will expect more of L1, I feel.
Yes, L1 and L2. Yeah. L1
Yes, sir.
basically.
Nice
So
presentation,
you
sir.
should
It
be
was
very
a good
strong.
summary.
You should be very strong in understanding these concepts.
Yeah, very
Difficult.
good presentation, sir. It's a very good summary of all mathematical concepts, which is very much useful for right from the for a beginner who starts his career in AI or for an advanced learned person. It's a very good
I
summary of
just
all
gave
the
overview.
concepts.
I just gave overview without even mentioning or showing any of the formulas or parameters and instances or illustrations where these concepts being applied.
List is
Probably
really
since
important,
since
sir.
this is an FDP, yeah, so probably you are
Yeah.
the better people to expand applications or instances of these concepts.
Presentation is really exhaustive, sir. So the person who is developing an application, if he gets to know at least the available tools for it, at least he can explore and apply accordingly. The summary slide was very well prepared, sir. A great presentation. Thank you so much.
One slide taking a glance.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
madam.
people
Even
are asking next session. Manjunath, really.
yeah. No, sir. About the last slide only, I have already expressed with you. I will put that slide in a mathematics department or even other departments also in the
Yeah.
outside, like to the wall.
That's
So
what I
even
always
others
tell
will also
mathematics
come to know how
department. Don't teach
mathematics is
maths as
very
maths.
important.
Yeah. Most of the times while addressing mathematics teachers, I tell don't teach maths as maths. So talk to the professors of the different disciplines, consolidate and tell students this particular concept is so okay theoretical aspects. So make a comparative chart and display at department level would be useful so the students will think of which concept used in what application, right?
Exactly, sir. Well said. Mathematics, no, we learn about differentiation, integrations, and all, but we don't know where we apply. Though when I was in engineering, I just knew how to differentiate what are various methods, but I learned where it applies only when I started my research under Dr. G.T. Raju, sir. Sir
Yeah,
briefed
we
me
speak about
it.
rank of a matrix, but why do we find
Although-
rank? Nobody understands. So how
Yes,
to
sir.
find rank is okay. Number of non-eliminations. But why rank matrix? Why eigenvalues? Why eigenvectors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Manjunath sir, for providing me an opportunity to refresh myself with respect to this concept. Thank you all. Thank you all,
Yeah.
the participants.
Thank you very
sir.
much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Keep in touch with this mail ID for any of your queries. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I can start the next session. People are waiting.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
So
sir.
we'll
Thank you, sir.
begin. So let us begin with day 5, session 10. I would like to invite our speaker, Professor Deepak. So we welcome you, sir.
No, thank you, ma'am.
I invite Gayatri Madam to introduce our resource person. Gayatri Madam.
Yeah, ma'am. Jai Shri Gurudev. Good evening, one and all. It's my honor to welcome our speaker, Deepak P. Sir is an assistant professor at the National Institute of Engineering, Mysore, Karnataka, where Sir has been contributing to academic and research community since February 2017. Sir expertise span across a range of modern technological fields, including AI, ML, cloud computing, and data science and software development. As a passionate researcher and mentor, Sir has played a pivotal role in developing Android educational initiatives at NIE, and under Sir's guidance, his students achieved remarkable success, securing second place in the Great Indian Hackathon 2022 organized by Microsoft Azure Developers Community at VVCE, Mysore. Sir is also the project coordinator for the Information System Security Association and the National Cyber Safety and Security Standards, where Sir leads initiatives aimed at enhancing cyber security education. Beyond its academic role, Sir has expertise in software engineering, having previously worked as a software engineer at Cisco Software Services Private Limited. Sir is deeply involved in teacher training programs and blended learning initiatives, ensuring the students receiving a comprehensive and up-to-date education in both theory and practice. With a passion for innovation and commitment to during academic excellence, Sir continues to inspire students, collaborate with industry leaders in advanced fields of technological education. Now, I request you to take over, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Jai Shri Gurudev. So let me share the screen.
Yeah.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, yes, visible. Deepak, you are most welcome.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. Myself,
Sir,
Deepak.
Deepak is our alumni, sir.
Hello.
Super, super. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
please go ahead, Deepak.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. So today's topic is on the called as ethical considerations in AI, right? So the main intention of ethics. So why the ethical thinking should come in the field of LLMs or any AI technology. So let's begin with the basics of what is an ethics. So ethics appears like an historic concept. So before understanding what's an AI ethics, let's focus on what is ethics first. So in short, ethics is a subfield of philosophy that provides us with a framework for deciding what is moral and what is not. So while this may sound as an abstract concept, so its main specific meaning with respect to the technology. So here, AI ethics is a field of application where moral frameworks are to be developed properly with the use of technological tools in a fair, accountable, transparent, and they should respect human values with respect to the system. So let's see what is an AI and why we have to interpret this AI. So this ability of interpreting the AI models should also considered as an important concept in the field of any software development. Because if we do not have an ethical development means the system is going to fail and it will interrupt in the process of production. So as we see recently, many European countries are having some major regulations in the field of AI. So let's start with the main intention of our AI. So AI is nothing but a booming model with large language designs, which is transforming industries like healthcare to finance and other various sectors by unlocking the possibilities that were unimaginable just a decade ago. So with this immense power of artificial intelligence with respect to computation, so comes great human responsibilities to ensure that these technologies are developed properly and used ethically. So let's see, as we know that our brain is also a part of AI now. So everything, whatever things happens, so people starts to think in the field of technology. So example is this screen. So suppose if you want to chat with a virtual assistants or any assistive technologies, so the first question that will comes from the service provider is nothing but hello, I am a bot, or they may ask you the like particular service providers names like hello, I am a Microsoft assistant technological assistant. So what may I help you for today? So now the main intention of providing this assistant is for generalization the data that is being generated by the company. Suppose during this time, if we interrupt with the chats and if we provide any sensitive data or the other questions of asking apart from general things, they won't answer. Or if they are providing some data which are private or personal information, that data may be sent as a resource to the data centers and that data can be leaked. So during this process, so we have to have some ethical data confirmations before sending into the servers. So the major effects of AI is on the individuals, societies, and also on the environment, which it takes this or which have to tackle these challenges, and it's crucial to think broadly about ethics in the context of technology. So about the interplay between the screen, like people and systems, human to humans, and human to machine, and machine to machines, and even machine to machine interactions that impacts human society with respect to AI. So now comes the part of why ethics should be played. So before we go with the agenda, so these are the following agendas which we study in this today's presentation. So the first one is 5 principles of AI, and second one is ethical AI and copyright dilemma, and third one is digital transformations, and fourth one is right AI approach and its principles. Fifth one, what are the actionable policies and tools, IT tools we have to check, and the last one is the business councils. So before we start with the concept, as you all know that the major highlight of the artificial intelligence came into the process of computation. So when it comes to the computation, why we take up the applications to the deployment, when we take any source or software or any data to the data centers, these are the major 5 things we have to concentrate on the data part. So either the data is being taken care, either the data is resource responsible from the company, and the data is being traceable, and the data is it equitable and governable by the particular countries or states, and is it reliable to send this data to some other resource, transfer this data to some other systems. So the major drawback here is the main area is the traction of this data. So here the major concept comes are, so one is whether the data is having bias, or the data which is being sent is having some security flaws, or any privacy data is being leaked, or any misinformation which is being sent to the web browsers or websites. So if any misinformation is sent, means the data may be spread across like a ignite. So that data can be fledged and it will be spread like for all the people with a particular data. So now these data, whatever the things that is being transferred or which is being sent as a misinformation concept should be traced, and before posting these data, the system should ethically check whether this data is true or not. Then only it has to upload this data to the data centers or to the websites. So next comes what are the copyright and the lawsuits in digital area. As many of you know that whatever the content which they have been developed in the research or publication of any conference papers, or so major drawback is we are facing is in the field of many of them are using the ChatGPT tools or any AI tools to generate their data. But nowadays the data is also being captured, and there's many of them are giving the fake data to the conference and papers. So to overcome these things, so we have to use these ethical AI models, and what are the copyright contents and from where these data are being sourced. So if we found out these data from which is the sourcing point, from there only the lawsuit will actions takes place in the respective countries. So along with this, the ethics, so the government should also play an important role. As the question says, our civil servants are ready for digital transformation? Yeah, but they are not with respect to the technology, they are with respect to the policies that they may take. It's an example of securities attacks which on different technologies. So if they say these things to the government servants or any civil servants, they won't understand anything. They will see the outcome, based on the outcome, they will form the policies. So to understand these things to the civil servants or government servants, so the AI brought one different types of category called as explainable AI. So which we'll discuss later. And to overcome these loss information about the digital transformation, nowadays there's another topic called as agentic AI or agent AIs. Okay, so these agent AIs are majorly used to take the data and to select the data properly and to provide a decision smarterly with respect to systems. So here this type of opportunities which is found in the AI is also raised some profound ethical concerns, like bias in the data or embedding some source data and threatening the human rights data with respect to the countries and inequality of the data sets in the system. So earlier in the last year, AI 2024, the year of the modern change to the world, which happened. And during this time, major things were affected with respect to the legal and ethical considerations fields. So who should take responsibility of AI now? So to overcome this, so this year 2020-25 is a revolutionary beginning for all the countries, and majorly European and USA are preparing already specific acts which has been already deployed in the last 10 days. And they are bringing up those changes to all the software companies to affect these changes. So let's see the major differences between now what is an ethical AI and a responsible AI. So here we take about the attributes called 4 attributes. One is focus, and second one is principles, third one is implementation, and fourth one is business impact. So here the major thing with respect to the focus is ethical AI thinks about only morality, fairness, and transparency, whereas responsible AI thinks from the practical implementations and what are the hazards or safety measures which we have to take from the practical applications and what are the compliances which we see. So with respect to the principles, both the responsible AI and ethical AI have the same principles except the 2 things. Here at the ethical AI, we respect the human values by considering ethical, whereas in the responsible AI, we take about the what is the risk assessment we are facing with respect to humans and how we are governing these risks to the country's policies. So implementation is nothing but we are having some ethical standards and there are some legal ISO frameworks to develop some products or softwares and why we need to take up the societal value for generating a particular product. And these things comes under the implementation. And the last part is the business impact. So what is the process of enhancing this trust and providing this improved decision to encourage the innovations? That comes under the responsible AI. Whereas in the ethical AI, we promote justice and equality to the operational methods. The overall view of this responsible AI and ethical AI is nothing but ethical AI establishes the principles for AI development and its use case, whereas responsible AI ensures they are implemented in practical. So this is a major abstract of difference between a responsible AI and ethical AI. So next, let us see what are the challenges and concerns we should face in the field of AI. So when building any frameworks, ethical frameworks, enterprises or companies encounter many stumbling blocks, which in the example is in a generative AI tools and how these generative AI tools should be used. Earlier, they didn't have any policies. So what happened was the data was spreading like anything. And nowadays, these data are being contributed properly with respect to the system, like distribution of harmful content that can be created by anyone through text prompts. So this has to be avoided, and copyright and legal exposure to content images. Sometimes we see the images can be modified or the content can be modified or a particular lines of coding also can be modified. But what is proof that these systems are correct or not? So we have to validate it. So to validate these things, we have nowadays have a specific tools. So we'll use those things. And the last challenge, third challenge is data privacy. So the data privacy violations is majorly contributed by the large language models, which are being trained on the virtual assistants nowadays. Everything, whatever the things we see about to work, all people will take out the concept of virtual assistant like Google Assistant or Chat GPTs or many Microsoft Copilots, etc. So during this time of sending their data to their servers, many personal identifiable informations, or sometimes we call it as PII. So these data are being considered as a private data, which are being sent to some other people. These people will leak their data and cause some violations to the countries. So these challenges are to be taken consideration before the data is being sent to the data centers. So, and the fifth concern is, or challenge is nothing but what is the bias which is trained on the data set and how these data are being fed into the AI models. So this is also as a particular concern in the model of AI. And what are the different data provenance issues which is being generated, and how is it being governed or questionable. So the last main important challenge is many people doesn't understand this concept. So we have to make sure that these data or challenges or AI things are to be taught to all the people starting from the school level itself, so that students should understand what is the thing and whether is it ethical to use these things or not. So example is AI explainability and interpretability like ChatGPT. Everything nowadays people are going to ask the same thing. Sometimes they have to use their basic sense of skills, which is which is required for the people to understand certain things. If they do not understand those things, then they have to go with the AI tools to get their data. So why this concept comes into the picture called AI pipelines? So for any software or any application development, so the major thing we face is whether after developing the system or a software, whether the system is validating it, or whether when it is being deployed, whether all the models are being sent properly to the production site and it is being validated and properly checked. So sometimes all the majority data in the production side comes under the incident database or AI incident DB. Many things will be flawed. So to overcome these things, so the major risk which we face is whenever this data is being sent to the production, so we call this as data pipelines. So these data pipelines may be broken, or some data can be sent where a few data cannot be sent due to some issues, depending upon the tools which we are using. So during these things, testing is also plays an important role. Whether the particular data before sending into the production, how the data is being tested properly and written particular compliance reports, whether particular data is not fed into the system and enduring some particular reviews of the data set. After that only the data should be sent. So security and compliance, which we see as already siloed and inconsistent, are being sent to the projects and teams, which we differentiated with respect to the team, saying that this is not done by our team. So, and sometimes it can be generated by AI tools also. So depending upon the particular pipelines that are being broken, so there should be a specific AI act which should also be measured by the company to make sure that non-compliance things have been happened and it has to be checked and reviewed properly. So to overcome this, so the first tool we see is called as GISCARD tool. So this is a particular tool which usually detects the performances, bias and securities in the AI models. And it does, you need not to do any testing cases. The testing cases will be done by the system itself with respect to evaluation of reports and other things. And it uses major standard methodologies for optimizing our models with respect to different ML operations and IT tools. And if there is no complaints with respect to prototype and deployment, then in the production, there will be no incidents that's gonna flow to the system. So before we start with the example of the, we'll have an application development today. As the screen shows, in the prototype, some test models will have less than 8 lines of code. Sometimes these systems may have flaw because the inbuilt libraries will be there. So we will have one application called sentimental analysis application today. After the next slide's explanation, we will see how these things are being generated. So now after evaluating all the testing and deployment models, there should be a particular framework, and these frameworks should be very fully controlled and this with respect to the AI risk. So example is nothing but the 4 principles of trust. We call it as trustworthy AI framework. The 4 major steps are: one is what are the strategies we are following and design and planning on the data. Example, use case explorations and what is the selection of data, what is the risk and impact of this assessment data, and whether this data is being sent to the corporate business, and are they being reviewed by the governance corporates and policies to design the AI principles, and technical requirements also. So the second step is, after planning all these things, whatever the data that's being fed into the system, is it being sourced properly, collected properly, merged, and are the data is being accessed properly with respect to the policies and regulations. And the third one is, after planning and design, we go with a generation of algorithms, whether what to focus on. So as the logic and instructions are proper, which are being connected to the data sets, and selection of the particular models, build, train and testing the model results, and the accuracy improvisations or bias thresholds. To overcome all these things, there should be a particular documentation which should be generated by the system also. And the last one is the deployment and governance. Here, the major thing is testing and the data into the production and how to mitigate the model's drift for hacking and data breaches from third parties. Sometimes whenever we are deploying any data, we'll be using the third party applications, or if you are not installed the third party applications also, by default, some of the browsers will have their data, which is considered as a data breach, which will be sent to third parties. So to understand these things, there should be incident responses. We should go from the browser itself and preparing the workforce properly. So let's see one example of application development. Is the screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, visible.
Okay, so today we'll develop one application with less than 10 lines of code. Nowadays we can have today we'll discuss one application called, as the name says, building a sentimental analysis app using two ML tools called Gradio and Hugging Face. So as many of you know, Hugging Face is nothing but a library of data models which is being there, whereas Gradio is nothing but for any ML applications, we'll use the user interface. For any applications which we want to develop, so an interface should be there for the users, right? So to have this for ML applications only, there's a particular software called Gradio. So before we start with the Gradio, so all the LLM models or any AI or ML models that is being generated, all comes under the first model called as transformers. So transformers is an architectural model, which is the basic model to generate any AI models or any ML applications. So first we have to install this transformers architecture. So first thing is, as you know, to install the Python, so pip, we use the pip command, pip install transformers. So just run the cell. So you'll have the installation of this cell. So as I've already run, so it's showing the requirements already satisfied. So it installs all the necessary libraries which are required for the applications. And second thing is, so the first thing is we have installed the basic architecture model. So second one is, so we have to install the pipelines to send our data properly. So to do that, we have the Hugging Face pipelines. So this pipeline is there from the transformers itself. So we write the code from transformers, import pipeline. And as you all know that for any machine learning models, there will be a particular classifiers. So classifiers are nothing but the algorithms. So these algorithms will have a specific role. So as we are running sentimental analysis, what I'm doing is I'm directly calling that algorithm here, pipeline of inside a double quote, I will write sentiment analysis. So now what happens is, so if you run this cell, automatically the data from the pipeline analyzes the tokenizations, summarizations, and indexing of the data. Everything will be done within the pipeline itself. So you need not to do anything on the specifying the particular models, like should I use regular expressions? What are the other regularization expressions I have to do to extract the data or to validate the data? So these data will generate 4 types of files. One is config.json, JavaScript object notation. Here the files will have the particular models. So here there is we are not sending any particular AI model, hence the name no model was supplied. Okay. So and all the data, as Raju sir said, with respect to the mathematics, all the things comes under the matrix data. So majorly we call this as tensors and tensor models. So these tensor models are to be sent properly. So hence the name model.safe tensors. If it is 100%, then only the system will run. If it is not 100%, the system won't run. So as I told, every keywords will have a particular tokenizers, and this vocabulary.text contains all the vocabulary English words or any different languages models also. So this data is being checked. And the other important thing is, whenever you are, as we are using only sentiment analysis segment, we are generating some particular, we are giving the input as some text, and we are checking for the classification, whether the sentence is positive, negative, or neutral. Suppose if you are using any images, so the images will have graphic pixels. So these type of models are to be considered by the GPU. So here automatically at the end, you can see that device is set to use CPU. So sometimes we should use both the things, and very few cases if you are using images, videos and all, then CPU won't be enough to sustain the model to train. So we have to go for GPU. If you are having only CPU means, then you have to install the CUDA programming. So based on the CUDA programming and integration of the CPU, system will run. So now we have installed, prepared the pipeline. So let's write a function now. So what is the function? Whatever things I give as an input, so that is nothing but the utterance words. So for this we have to write a Python function. So as you know, the keyword is define function. So I'm calling the inputs as the utterance parameter. So what output should be, it has to classify the sentence is positive, negative, or see when I highlight down the classifier model, it automatically gives example, this movie is distinctly good, label positive, score 100, or greater than 90 or things. So these things are being evaluated by the system. So now let's run this function. So it's run. Now the major important thing is, so we have to provide an interface to the web to integrate these sentences as an input to the system. So to do that, first install Gradio, pip install Gradio. So it will install the Gradio models. If there is any update, it will collect the recent updates to the systems also. So after restarting the models, okay, some of the models may be have link new, like this following 5 to 6 lines has been updated. So this I have to restart my sessions. So after this, so this is the last line of code. So what is the thing is, we are importing the Gradio's GR. So I am giving a sentence like descriptions. You can give any description, whatever you like. And the major important thing is, as it is an application, so GR is nothing but the Gradio tool dot interface. So this interface, what I am doing is, so I have three parameters here. First parameter is function. I have to pass the function first, and in the input. So as this application is with respect to the text content, so input will be text, and output is also what is the output we have to get, either positive, negative, or neutral. So I can modify the things like I can give the output like I should be only text also, or sometimes I can give it as voice, or I can give it as videos or audios. So these things will be modified depending upon the problems we do. So I'm giving one title parameter saying the sentiment analyzer. So it will be shown as the web screen first, and description is nothing but the thing, whatever the thing we are giving in the descriptions. So once this is run, so we have to launch this application. So just give app.launch and share equal to true. So why we have to give share equal to true means, sometimes when we are developing these applications, sometimes we have to integrate these applications to external tools. So at that time, it's not possible to generate an API to do those things. So for that purpose, we will have a public URL seeing like this. So once I run this system, so it will generate a public URL, and these public URLs will be majorly having the production up to 84 hours. So as it wasn't having the updated library, I have to restart session. So all the code will be run once again, and we'll see the screen once the output is generated. As you can see now, the system is generated the code properly and there is no errors. So now you can see there are two things. One is the system will generate the output in the screen itself like this. So this is our local system. And if you want to integrate this application to any Android applications or any other things, so you will have a public URL. So if you click on this, it will go to the new tab. So here the same thing, whatever we see here at the bottom will be shown as it is, but you can integrate this link to the Android automatically. Okay, so now utterance means nothing but whatever things that I want to give. So I will give this as the FDP is being done properly. So, or any sentence, whichever you want to give, you can give English or Kannada, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, any language is being already integrated into the vocabulary text. So if you give the particular sentence and if you click on submit, at the output end, it will generate the what is the exact label or classification which has to be given to the system. So as this sentence is a positive, those who have worked under the field of NLP, natural language processing, they would have understand these things. So all the words, keywords will be tokenized and some words will be eliminated. And after this, it will check for the particular positive words and negative words. If there are no negative words, then the label will be classified as positive and it will measure the recall and values of accuracy and it will generate the score by giving the accuracy formula here. So considering the particular whether it had false positive values, true positive values, false negative, true negative. Based on these 4 key attributes, the system will generate the scores and this is called as accuracy of our system. So it's generating 98.9. So similarly, we can give any other sentences if you want to check. So after giving the sentence, click on submit. So the system will label the output positive, negative or neutral depending upon the input which we are feeding to the AI model. So as you can see that, so this is an example of building an application with less than 10 lines of code. Nowadays, these things are easy for the students to do these things, but they should have a basic of the programming languages information and they have to work properly with respect to the codings. Because some information, if they don't know, also they will use the chat GPTs and other things. But if they don't know to analyze the things properly, means it's of no use of generating some higher end applications. So this is an example of hands-on session for the application. So during this time, if I send any my private mobile data or some date of birth or any other data center, what is happening is you are sending this data to the system which is being sent to the data centers. From the data centers, the data leak can happen through the third-party services which are being installed in the data centers. So to overcome this, we'll use some other technologies in the AI. So which will go through next. So this is an example of a hands-on session with less than 10 lines of code. So next example is, as I told, so a virtual assistant will be there. So you will have the data and sometimes to confirm some information, what happens is the chatbots or chat assistants, they may ask you the private information of yours. Sometimes on doing some other information thinking, we may give the personal data. So these data can be a private information which will be sent to the data and data leaks can happen. So to overcome these things, so we have 2 technologies. Okay, at the end of the presentations, we'll study those 2. So before going with the models learning, so we have to have the particular approach models. What are the particular approaches we have to see with respect to the AI model? So we have 10 core principles which comes under the ethics of AI, and these are called as right AI approach. So the first approach is called as proportionality and do no harm. So here what's the major agenda is, whatever the data that is being given to the system, whether this data is necessary to take a legitimate action and have the risk assessment has been done to prevent harms to the system or to the data. Second one is safety and security. So this comes under the PII, personal identifiable informations, or any data that may feed to the systems, to the society biased. So these things are to be checked properly. So there's a safety and security should be there. The third one is right to privacy and data protection. So once the data is being sent to the system, means there should be particular act of data where the privacy data should be not sent to the third-party applications, and whether the system is having the data protection acts and is it being established from the provider's end only, because consumers or the users do not know these things. Also, third-party applications don't have any regulations, so they will have their data. The fourth approach is, so each rule should be given by multiple stakeholders, and this has to be governed and collaborated properly by all the countries, like laws, national sovereignties, and to the particular approaches which we will face in the AI should be properly governed by the system. If you're having only single person, means so he may, depending upon the situation, he may do the data modifications. So instead of that, we should have multiple stakeholders, and all the stakeholders should validate the application. Then only the system will be having a collaborative output to the AI models. So the fifth one is responsibility and accountability. And here all the data after governance and policies have been done. So either the system is responsible and is it being traceable and auditing is being done to the systems or not before sending it to the production site. The sixth approach is transparency. Whether this data, sometimes what happens is when we are as we are in the field of education, some data will not be given for us as a research. Even if you are doing some research and the data is present in some other UK or US countries, some data we won't send to your system because it's a particular legal authentic right from the particular country saying that this data should not be sent to the transfer to some other country. So what we have to do is we have to go over there and we have to work, and after that only the data given access will be given to you. So these things comes under the transparency and explainable act of law under the privacy, safety, and security. So seventh one is how to determine the human oversight, whether the system is having any ultimate responsibility of the humans, or whether based on the data or based on the hardware models or based on the devices which they bring from other countries. So all the things has to be monitored, and based on that, the data AI model will be given some determinations to the system. So sustainable comes under the model of UN's United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or in general we call it as SDGs. So all the systems after implementation, there should be no impact on the nature or thing. If it is having some impact also, there should be a very less comparatively, it should be less than 20 to 25%. If it is crossing more than that, means the system will not be given to a production site. So awareness and literacy. So all the people on the public should be able to understand the data and whatever the things that are being done by a particular company, and you should make the information accessible to the education, civic engagements, and you have to improvise these trainings and information literacy to all the public companies or public people to ensure that they should have some literacy of the particular updated technologies. The last one is the fairness and non-discrimination. Sometimes, so fairness and discrimination happens in both the companies in the research and everything. So here, how do you justify the things based on justice, fairness, and whether this applicable to all the benefits? For suppose sometimes every job cannot be done by everyone. So there are specific actors which are being there for the specific roles. They have to do their activities. Sometimes it can be interchanged, but after interchanging the jobs also, if they are working properly, then there won't be any bias. If there's a particular bias in the working mix, so discrimination happens automatically. So to overcome all these things, there should be some fairness and transparencies in the data with respect to the AI models. So after this, we should generate the key policies. So key policies are nothing but, so in all the different models of working, so everywhere we have a policy on how to work and how to access the data. Is it legal to access this data, or a wrong thing which we are doing? So to overcome all these things, so there should be some actionable policies which have to be taken. So these we call it as 11 key policies areas for policies on AI models. Like it should be comes under the ethical impact assessment. First is the public should have their data. So the data questionnaires should be given to the public first. So they have to evaluate the questionnaires and they have to give the answers. Once if it is measured properly, that public are accepting the data, means then only it has to be sent to the second part called governance by the stewardship by the particular governance companies. So after these things are done, so the third policy is nothing but your data policies. We should do some policies on the data, that the data should be encrypted and it should not be sent to the third-party applications. After this, the development and cooperation takes place with respect to the different countries, and is it being environmentally and ecosystemally done, and does the policies having any gender biases or cultural biases? Sometimes we see these things. So cultural biases happens when we see example is some other countries people comes to the concerts. So what happens is they play their particular musics, right? Because of their knowledge, what they have seen. Suppose if they tell you to play some other musics or some other songs which are not from their domain, means there won't be any things that happen and it won't be give a profound output in the system. So these things happen. So what we have to do is there should be both the combinations of the things when we are going to some applications or any public events that are going to take place. So education and research is one of the major highlight of the policies which have been recently done. Like we see Australia and recently Switzerland, other countries are doing the major drawbacks of the ChatGPT is like kids are using these tools for assessments and they are losing their basic thinking capacities. So they are using the major AI Act on this education and research and communication and information, spreading of false data, and whether this data impacts on economy and labor like jobs, etc. And the last is whether this system is having a healthy and social well-being to the country or not. So these are major 11 key policy areas which will be integrated towards the development of AI responsibly. So after all these things, so we have how to measure these things, AI models. So we have earlier we had only two models called RAM and EIA. So nothing but readiness assessment methodology and ethical impact assessment. And recently we had this ROAM approach called sometimes the human rights is also one of the important factor to analyze the AI model. So the first one is called recent is human-based or human rights-based, open, accessible, and multi-stakeholder. So in short, we call it as ROAM. So it is nothing but an evidence-based consultative approach for building and policy advising by the humans to the particular companies like multi-stakeholders for generating any applications. So they will have a set of questionnaires and they will generate the data from the public. Then if it is true only, the system is going to take up the production of a particular software. So the second one is called RAM or readiness assessment methodology. This is a tool developed to help the countries to understand how the country is already prepared to apply AI ethically and responsibly by the citizens. It includes a different range of assessment like quantitative, qualitative questions, which is used to design and gather the informations based on different dimensions of the country's ecosystems, legal and regulatory affairs, social and cultural, economic, scientific, education and technological and infrastructural dimensions. So the last one is a methodology, practical methodology called as EIA or ethical impact assessment. So here the major thing is the entire process of design, develop and deploying of an AI system is measured by the assessment of risk. What risk is being taken before and what after the production, what are the risks that are being faced by the public. So based on these two things, so they will see what are the dangers that's going to approach, which is being the arrival of new generative tools, is it being experimental on the people or on the data or the public. So these things assessment will be done by the EIA methodology. So these are the major three practical methodologies of the AI models, which should be done by the assessment. And every business will have the business councils. So the major purpose is within the AI industries, so all the developed AI models are utilized in a proper way or not, and whether this system is upholding the ethical standards for the country or the business. So currently co-chaired by Microsoft and Telefonica, a particular council is committed to strengthen the technical capability of ethics and AI in designing and implementing on the EIA models. Okay. So, and the other two models are being recently updated. So in the last year, they are updated only for EIA by company Microsoft and Telefonica. So examples of ethical dilemmas like biased AI on gender data and with respect to the court of law, how the system is facing AI law that is being faced by the court or the people, and is it judicial system facing many issues. So to overcome all these things, dilemmas will happen in the AI. So, and the third one is the major thing which we are facing is the art. So generating the data code or modifying the art of creativity in the art and sector. So gaming industries, all these things are being updated and it's also one of the dilemma. And the last one is the autonomous car. Is it the sensing of the environment, whether the data is being fetched properly or not, etc. So in order to overcome all these things, so UNESCO and UNITAR. So as we all know, UNESCO is also public thing. We majorly use it for improvising the global AI thing. So UNITAR is nothing but United Nations for Training and Assessment and Research. So this they prepared a micro-learning course on AI and human rights. And this course was being given to the young adults between the age of 16 to 24 to analyze and it was translated into 5 languages to understand the freedom of expression of data, how these things are being evaluated, privacy and equality of the systems. And these things majorly improved and applicable in the MENA region, which is called as Middle East North African regions, like South Africa and other European countries. So this was a pilot program led by UNITAR, and the major importance of expanding this course was to make sure this AI technology is being understood by everyone publicly and by all the peoples to analyze the more efficiency of the AI properly. And last thing is when it comes to the countries and other things, so digital policies play a major role. As we saw during the 22, 21 and all, there was a huge prominence of digital policies that takes place through the TikTok applications. And nowadays also there is so much of digital policies that are being done on the application sites. So is our country is already ready to take up this responsibility? Yes, many of the things are being recently developed, but the assessment is not yet being done. So in order to overcome this, all the people should be able to ready to contribute the particular questions, and they have to be ready to give the particular truth data to the country also. Sometimes sending the false data to the country is also an issue to the system. So to overcome this, so we go with the monitoring process. So here, how does the system is being observed? So what happens is in the front end, so only monitoring takes place. So monitoring means only we see the front side of the data, what is being done. It is not that only monitoring the data, we have to find out the pattern, whether the data pattern is being changed. So this observability of data is also plays an important role in the AI models generation. So after generation of these data, so this comes under the LLM. So this is nothing but large language models. So after this large language models is been done, so we have to evaluate the large language models. So this comes under the following different pillars of data observability, like freshness, distribution of data properly, what is the maximum big data of volume which we are sending into the sites, and schema or schemaless and lineage data. So major thing is usually we see through monitoring. So from now onwards, we have to go through the observability of data. So after all these things, the system was a compromised one of AI models. So what happened was they came with three different AI technologies called explainable AI, responsible AI, and sovereignty AI. So first one is explainable AI. Whether the trust in AI model, how well we have understood these things, or sometimes it's also represented by XAI, and it majorly implies on the complexity checking of the AI models. Example here. So in the earlier thing, we had a data and we had the machine learning process, and we used to give some functions. Either decision or recommendation was done by the system, and after this output used to come. Whereas in XAI, explainable AI, what we have to do is after the model is having a training data, it has to go through the new machine learning process, not to the old machine learnings. And after this machine learning should be sent to the explainable model. Without having any functions, learned functions, directly we send this data to the models. And once the model is having a particular interface, this interface will be kept by the users, like the following set of questions. I understand why this thing is being done. I understand why not, what are the things that are not there in the system. I know when you should be succeeding. I know when the system should fail, and whom to trust, and what's the error that's been takes place in the output from the user. So once all this data output comes, so this data will be sent once again to the explainable AI model to modify the applications on the AI things. So once we are sending all this data to the system, means it goes to the data centers. So in this we have three things. One is data at rest, whether at the end of the data is it secure, and data in motion or data in transit. During the data transit also there should be security, and when the data is being used, there should be also security. So this comes under separate research domain called confidential computing, so which comes under the privacy of data using federated learning. So to overcome these applications properly and succeeding it in production site in a proper way, so AI liability frameworks takes place into the picture. So here we use two major regulations. One is PLD and AILD. The first one is Product Liability Directive. So it majorly introduces on the strict liability of defective AI systems and its softwares. And the second one is proposed AI liability directive, majorly it uses the negligent usage of the models, and update should be done on these things. So on the next type of AI is called the sovereign AI. So sovereign AI is nothing but it refers to the nation's capability, whether the people are ready to take up the role of producing AI tools and depending upon their own infrastructures, data, workforce, and business networks. So along with explainable AI and sovereign AI, so there was no trustworthy model that was taken place. To build a merge between the explainable AI and sovereign AI, we came up with a trustworthy AI. So trustworthy AI is nothing but it's an approach on the AI development to prioritize the safety and transparency of the people who interact with the models. So we have three things in the principles of trustworthy. One is privacy, as you all know, data should be private. Safety and security. So the data should not avoid the unintended harm and malicious threats to the countries or to the public. And the last one is making a transparent model to the system. So now comes the second tool called as guardrails. So these guardrails are nothing but example is I have sent a pic here. So in the prompt, so assume is going to type the sentence as you are the worst AI ever. So response is coming like, I'm sorry to hear that. How can I improve? So this is nothing but without having any guard to the AI models. So if you're having any guardrails to the system means, suppose if you give any prompt saying the same sentences, so it says in the response, sorry, but I can't assist with that. So this way of ethically avoiding the people's prompts, sending some random or unavoidable data to the system. So these types of guardrails are majorly used to safety control, to monitor and dictate a user's interaction in the LLM application. So these are nothing but a set of programmable models on rule-based systems, which sits between the users and the foundational models. So we have different categories of rails, topical rail here based on the topics. So it should avoid the addressing of or generating a data. Moderation of rail is nothing but once the responses are sent to the system, whether the system is having ethically inappropriate languages or some information like providing some wrong content to the system, is it being modified, the wrong content, and it is being spread. And the third one is fast checking and hallucination rail. It avoids providing answers that are either false or hallucination. And secure execution rail. Here, without accessing any third-party services, the data should be secure. And jailbreaking rail. Here, ensure that robustness of malicious user attacks like such as prompt injections, etc., should be checked before sending the data to the system. And the last one is format rail. Here we ensure that prompts and responses are conformed to the specified structure schema like JSON and other models. And these are the basic rails. So we have advanced rails also. So to avoid all these guardrails, so company NVIDIA started with a cybersecurity framework called NVIDIA Morpheus, majorly on generating a framework for building cybersecurity applications to the AI models and to protect all the sensitive information on their networks. So along with this, there was another framework called ELSI, so ethical, legal, and societal implications for emerging technologies. All the responsible development of emerging technologies should be performed actively, engaged, and it should be checked for the potential end users and the public during the program development process to ensure that the implications and perspectives are considered properly or not. So these things comes under the protection of data. Sometimes what happens is the data in the web may have been falsely data which is being spread. So that is nothing but misinformation. Misinformation can spread like a wildfire, which can break the firebreak directly into the web browsers. To overcome all these things, we have a particular tool called Sidecar or Sidecar Pro. So what these tools does is it ensures that whatever the things we are searching in the web, whether the information which you are seeing is proper or wrong. So it will check the data and it will send only the proper content, and it stops the blocking of the wrong content into the websites. And this is one of the tool. So depending upon all the web, we have Gemini, Claude, and all the things. The system will have the data and it will check through the system and will send only the proper content into the model. And the last tool is called Giscard. So your Giscard is nothing but it's a testing platform, as I told at the application development in the concept. So in order to need not to test the inputs or the models, automatically the feature will have this is an application or library called Giscard library. So majorly use it to protect the companies against biased performance and security in the AI models. So a major outcome of this tool is to defend the vision of responsible AIs on the economic performance of the companies while also respecting the rights of citizens' data. And so this is an example of the screen of how a guardrail and Giscard application is being used. So it uses all the models at the left side. It shows tonal detection, confidential detection, jailbreak, PII, PI data loss, general fact checkers, etc. So these all the different models of data that are being sent to the third parties will be checked before sending into the data centers. Okay. So let's see the concept of these things. So now, so I have to install this Giscard into the model. So to install this Giscard, you should have a API from the LLM models. It can be any OpenAI API keys or Gemini API keys or Giscard API keys. You can take any API keys. After, based on the data set, so we will have these for different types of, based on the data, the system automatically checks. These are the following issues that are being detected. Like 8 issues are being detected in a particular data. So, and along with this, we will have robustness and it will show what type of details is being fed. So if you click on show details, it will give the details like what are the models that are being sent, like inappropriate spaces or other things, etc. are being generated. So these are simple basic things. Along with this or control character injection attacks, we call these things. And adding some other symbols like /n or adding these symbols like boxes into the inputs. So these along with the text. So these are the major attacks which we face. So these things will be generated by the system, by the Giscard itself. Okay, you can see here, once we have a data at the end, it will show Giscard.scan, and based on the different models which you run, so you have to give that model to the scanning part. So here, once the scan is done to the model, it displays the particular scan results and it will detect the different types of attacks like robustness and what is the harmful data that is being there in the data and what you should do. Everything will be shown here. Okay. So these are some of the examples of using a Giscard testing platform for AI models. And sometimes you have sensitive informations and stereotypes data like biased data, and agent may go wrong at that time. The data may have biased data on the genders also. So these things will be always detected in the models. And along with these things, you will have the hallucination and misinformation. Sometimes the system may have false data that can be sent to the system, to the web. To check these things also, we have these models along with robustness, as already discussed, harmful and sensitive informations like the things and prompt injections. So your prompt injections are nothing but giving a wrong input to the system to check what happens to the AI model. So these things will be automatically checked by the systems to have all those 10 categories of testing AI models information. Based on the models, if all the things are proper, then only data will be sent. So this is an example of testing platform for AI models called Giscard application or Giscard library. Okay, and so this is regarding the basics of AI models testing and analysis. So so this ends my session. If you have any other questions, you can ask. So totally we learned about 3 different tools. One is Gradio to have the GUI interface or user interface for ML models. And the second one is guardrails. So guardrails are nothing but to check the data, whether the data is being sent properly. And in order to do the testing also, we use Giscard library to check the testing of AI models. So if you have any other questions, means you can ask now.
Participants, anybody is having any questions, kindly post in the chat box. Any queries from participants, kindly post in the chat box.
Sri, sir, any queries?
Madam,
Sri, sir?
we'll wait for 5 minutes, madam.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sherry sir. Sherry sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir, one person is raising hand. Please enable the mic, sir.
Okay, sir. I'll... Sir, you can ask
Thank you,
question
sir.
now.
Thank you, sir. I was not able to post my question in chat box. I don't have a question, but I have a request. Can the resource person share this presentation in the group?
Yeah, we will share it, sir, at the end.
Thank you, sir. I was not able to write there. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, sir.
So let's summarize the major thing. So the major highlight of this ethical models is nothing but we have to accelerate these models and adoption of AI models in a proper way, and providing these partnership with industries, academic, and allies with respect to the different countries and partners. And we have to build a particular AI separate workforce to lead a particular countries to analyze the models we are using, the data privacy or etc. And let's connect, and major mission is to unleash the world's untapped potential in AI models or AI technology and build the trust on the framework of AI, like transparencies, inspection, and adoption. After these things only, we have to start with the building of models. So this is the last slide. So this example is nothing but I love AI. So AI is nothing but here. Based on how you see the thing in the model, based on that, we have to analyze the data and we have to mitigate the risk and responsibilities of the systems properly. Thank you.
Madam Lubna?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Okay. Okay, yes, ma'am.
On behalf of everyone here, I would like to sincerely thank you for today's session, sir. Your insights and expertise have been incredibly valuable, and we are all grateful for the time and effort you put into sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I thank the institute for providing me an opportunity to for being a resource person for the Atal FTP program, and thank you for the department and to the organizers and to the institute for having a wonderful program on security and AI technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deepak sir. Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak sir. Even because of some problems with the resource person, actually, your session was planned for tomorrow, right?
Yeah. It's fine, sir. It's not an issue.
You have accepted our request. Okay, really, we are grateful to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay,
and we invite you once for our campus also, sir. Please visit our campus and the department.
Okay, sure, sir. We'll come and.
Yeah, please, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajay sir, and to all the organizing committee. Shall I end the session or?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Shweta madam.
Thank you, sir.
Shweta madam.
As we come to the...
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Lubna, you can continue.
Yeah, Lubna.
Okay. As we come to the end of today's session of our faculty development program, I would like to take a moment to thank all our distinguished resource persons and participants for their valuable contributions today. I thank our management, principal sir, and HODs for their continuous support. Dear participants, please be reminded that tomorrow's session will begin in afternoon at 2 p.m. Additionally, there will be a test at the end of the session. And regarding PPT, we will share PPT and recording at the end of our faculty development program. Please do fill the feedback form shared in the group. We look forward to having you all back tomorrow as we continue this journey of growth and learning together. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you.